Drug bust at the port of Houston. Officials say they stopped more than 1,000 barrels of chemicals from China headed to a cartel in Mexico.
That's enough to make nearly $500 million worth of meth, a very large drug bust.
Imagine this. A cargo vessel arrives in Houston carrying ingredients capable of producing a massive amount of illegal substances. Authorities say a major criminal network wasn't just planning to move harmful products across borders. They aim to create large-scale production sites inside the United States using overseas chemical suppliers. Federal teams from ICE and CBP recently uncovered an international operation where suppliers overseas shipped key materials. Distribution teams coordinated from Mexico and American ports were used as entry points. Before we continue, tapping the subscribe button supports this channel and helps bring more verified reports like this. Now, let's break down what happened. This discovery exposed a major international supply chain. On June 2, 2025, the Port of Houston became the center of a high-stakes federal inspection. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, in cooperation with Customs and Border Protection, examined what appeared to be a routine shipment from overseas. But detailed checks revealed it was tied to a sophisticated criminal network aiming to manufacture illegal substances on American soil rather than smuggling finished products. According to officials, this was not a small operation. It was a coordinated supply route linking chemical manufacturers overseas with organized groups in Mexico, using U.S. ports as key transfer points. Authorities seized nearly 50,000 kilograms of a chemical compound used as a base ingredient for producing illegal drugs, enough to create millions of individual doses. This discovery revealed a shift from smuggling finished drugs to importing raw materials to build domestic production capacity. The scale shocked investigators. Nearly 110,000 pounds of precursor materials were recovered, enough to produce more than 15 million individual portions of illegal substances. To put it simply, one shipment had the potential to fuel distribution across multiple states for months. Each unit of this chemical compound could be converted through industrial-style processes into hundreds of illegal doses, officials explained. The potential impact across multiple states, including Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, would have been enormous. Millions of harmful doses could have entered communities, putting countless lives at risk. This wasn't a routine interception. It was a major disruption of a large-scale manufacturing system. To truly understand the operation, we must view it as a structured corporate-style supply chain, planned, coordinated, and international, rather than random smuggling. The supply chain traces back to chemical production facilities overseas. These factories manufacture materials that are also used in everyday commercial industries like plastics and manufacturing. However, some of these suppliers have been linked to illegal distribution networks providing key ingredients to criminal groups. Shipments travel through major ocean routes, with Houston flagged as a prime entry point due to its massive commercial traffic. With over 8,000 containers moving through the port each day, the volume creates natural cover for illegal shipments mixed among legitimate trade. This shows a high level of planning, as criminal groups study shipping routes, customs procedures, and inspection cycles to reduce their chances of being detected. Once inside the country, organized groups had mapped out potential processing locations across the Southwest, aiming to convert these chemicals into illegal products. This marks a shift from smuggling finished substances to importing materials for domestic manufacturing, an attempt to build production infrastructure inside the United States. The process relied on multiple layers: overseas suppliers providing chemicals, organized criminal networks coordinating logistics, and U.S. entry points used for transportation. Officials say intelligence shows this was not an isolated attempt. Similar pathways have been monitored linking international suppliers with domestic operations, often disguised within legitimate trade channels. Investigators found that some suppliers overseas had entire lines dedicated to these precursors and used clever concealment methods, such as mixing legitimate goods with illegal compounds inside the same containers and creating false shipping descriptions. Financial tracking uncovered international transfers, digital currency usage, and shell businesses designed to hide the true purpose of the transactions. This was not casual smuggling. It reflected a structured, international distribution approach meant to appear like normal global commerce. This strategy marks a major shift in how certain criminal groups operate. Instead of moving finished illegal substances across borders, they ship raw materials, which lowers detection risk and increases potential output once inside the U.S. According to intelligence reports, planned facilities in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona could have produced extremely large quantities each month. Authorities say transportation networks were already prepared, with routes, storage points, and local distribution systems ready to move material across the country. In response, federal agencies launched Operation Chemical Shield, a coordinated national effort to identify, track, and stop chemical-based supply lines before they develop into domestic production hubs. This operation was a coordinated effort between ICE and CBP that highlights the effectiveness of multi-agency collaboration. Advanced chemical scanning equipment at the Port of Houston detected unusual molecular signatures inside several containers, prompting a full hazardous materials response. Specialized hazmat teams secured the entire shipment, nearly 50,000 kilograms of precursor chemicals, and followed strict containment procedures to prevent any environmental contamination during the seizure. Federal prosecutors are assembling cases against the overseas suppliers and domestic participants, with potential charges that could include trafficking in controlled precursors, drug manufacturing conspiracy, and money laundering. The coordinated response shows how intelligence, detection technology, and rapid field teams work together to stop large-scale threats before they spread. The operation showcased how different federal agencies contribute unique capabilities. ICE Homeland Security investigations supplied critical intelligence on the distribution network, while CBP brought cutting-edge chemical detection at the port. DEA lab specialists conducted immediate analyses to assess the threat and confirm the conversion potential of the seized materials. Authorities also report opening lines of international cooperation with counterparts abroad to investigate the manufacturers that supplied these precursors. That overseas engagement is part of a broader effort to disrupt supply chains at their source and to hold both suppliers and facilitators accountable under international and domestic law. Officials call this seizure one of the largest precursor intercepts in recent U.S. history. By removing such a large volume from circulation, agents believe they averted a major increase in locally manufactured illegal drugs and the harms that would follow. But investigators caution that this single seizure is only part of a larger picture. While these 50,000 kilograms sit in evidence, agencies are working to determine whether other shipments have already reached processing sites and to map the full scale of the supply network behind them. The broader implication is clear: criminal organizations are adapting. Rather than only moving finished illegal products, some groups now seek to import raw materials that enable domestic production. This evolution increases the potential scale of local manufacturing and makes prevention more complex. Houston's interception was a significant victory, but other ports remain potential points of entry. Maritime trade's volume and complexity can be exploited to conceal illicit shipments among legitimate commerce. Federal authorities say this outcome strengthens national security and underscores the need for ongoing vigilance, technology investment, and international partnerships to stop precursor flows before they become production on U.S. soil. This shipment never reached U.S. communities. Authorities describe it as a coordinated international effort involving suppliers overseas and organized crime networks. The message from federal officials is clear: U.S. ports will not be used to move illegal chemical precursors into the country, regardless of how advanced or well-funded these operations are. This case shows that when federal agencies work together, even sophisticated global supply chains designed to produce illegal substances can be uncovered and stopped. But the challenge continues. As criminal groups update their strategies and look for new suppliers, U.S. authorities must remain alert at ports, borders, and within communities. Combating chemical-based trafficking requires modernization, stronger scanning systems, and international partnerships. Millions of potential doses were prevented from entering the country. At the same time, this case highlights how large and organized these networks have become. Criminal groups are shifting toward industrial-style chemical sourcing rather than relying only on finished products, which demands an equally advanced federal response. The teamwork between ICE and CBP represents a full-scale government approach, combining intelligence, detection tools, and global coordination. Federal agencies have shown they can disrupt even well-planned chemical smuggling networks. Ultimately, this effort is not only about seizing materials or investigating cartels, it's about safeguarding communities from the widespread harm illegal drugs create. Stopping this shipment protected millions of people from the damage that widespread drug distribution could have caused. Every container of precursor chemicals seized represents lives protected, families supported, and neighborhoods shielded from the crime and community harm associated with large-scale drug operations. The fight against illegal chemical supply chains continues, but this moment marks a major success. It highlights the dedication and skill of the federal teams who work to defend American communities every day. What do you think? Should port security and chemical screening programs expand even more to block future attempts? Share your thoughts in the comments. For more verified reports on major federal operations and national security efforts, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update.